I remember the day when I first noticed something was off. My friend was whispering to someone else, and when I walked by, they quickly stopped talking and looked at me like I didn't belong. My heart sank. I felt a twist in my stomach like I had eaten something bad. I wanted to believe everything was fine, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. When her friend betrayed her trust, it was like a big storm had come out of nowhere. I couldn't just sit there and do nothing. I started looking back at all the moments they shared, trying to find clues that would explain why she felt so hurt. Each little detail I found made my heart hurt more, but I also felt like I was getting closer to the truth. Trust is a thin string that can snap easily. I learned this when my best friend Sarah started hiding things from me. I thought we were closer than anyone, but her secrets felt like daggers in my heart. Every time I caught her lying, my stomach twisted. It hurt. I wanted to shout, "Why are you lying?" But fear held me back. What if I lost her for good? But I knew I couldn't just pretend everything was okay. As trust crumbled, I felt the need to figure out what was really happening. I saw the cracks in our friendship, the signs of her lies. It was hard to accept that someone I shared my dreams with could betray me like this. The more I found out, the angrier I became. "Sarah, why are you doing this to us?" I wanted to scream. Trust isn't just about believing, it's about feeling safe. Without that safety, I was lost, confused, and heartbroken. I knew I'd to confront her, even if it meant saying goodbye to my best friend. One day, I couldn't hold it in anymore. "We need to talk," I said, my voice shaking. Sarah looked shocked, her eyes wide. "What do you mean?" she asked, trying to act innocent. "Stop lying to me. I know what you've been doing," I shot back, my heart racing. The room felt heavy with tension. Her face fell and she stammered, I didn't mean to hurt you." But her words felt empty. I realized then that she didn't care about our friendship as much as I did. "Maybe you never did," I replied, my voice steady but filled with pain. The air was thick with betrayal, and I knew it was time to let go. As I walked away, I felt a mix of sadness and relief. Trust was gone, and so was the friendship I thought would last forever. The sun shone brightly as Sarah and I walked through the park, our laughter echoing around us. That day was perfect, filled with memories I thought would last forever. We shared dreams and secrets, lost in the moment, wishing it would never end. As we passed colorful flowers, I felt calm. We stopped at the pond, watching ducks paddle by. Sarah's laughter rang out, and for a second, everything felt great. We talked about our future, all the adventures we'd have together, and I believed nothing could tear us apart. But then I saw her glance at her phone, and something shifted. My heart sank. I wanted to ignore it, but doubt crept in. Those happy memories started to crack. "Is everything okay?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Yeah, just my mom," she replied, but her eyes darted back to the screen. I could feel the tension rising between us. I wanted to trust her, but the unease twisted in my stomach. "Let's keep walking," I said, forcing a smile. But with every step, the laughter felt more like a mask. I wanted to hold on to the good times, but a dark shadow loomed. I could sense something was wrong. "Sarah, are you hiding something from me?" I blurted out. Her face went pale, and silence hung in the air like a heavy cloud. "No, of course not," she shot back, but her voice trembled. The warmth of the day faded, and I felt the betrayal creeping in. I wanted to believe her, but doubt gnawed at me. Suddenly her phone buzzed again, and I saw a name flash across the screen. My heart raced. "Who's that?" I demanded. "It's just a friend," she insisted, but I could see the panic in her eyes. The perfect day shattered like glass, revealing the truth beneath. I stepped back, heartbroken. Maybe this isn't what I thought. "It was," I said, my voice breaking. I turned away, feeling the weight of our toxic love crush me. The laughter, the dreams, everything we built felt like a lie. What do you do when the signs of trouble are impossible to ignore? I asked myself this as I watched Sarah change right before my eyes. She was acting strange, always tapping on her phone, avoiding my gaze. My gut told me something was wrong, but I didn't want to believe it. She was pulling away from me. Our fun talks and laughter vanished. Now, she spent most of her time glued to her phone, whispering to someone I didn't know. Every time I caught her distracted, a knot twisted in my stomach. I started to dread our hangouts, wondering what secrets she might spill or keep hidden. The signs were piling up like heavy stones. Betrayal loomed over me, making me question everything. My heart raced when I confronted her about Jake. Her pale face and trembling hands said it all. This wasn't just a weird phase, it was tearing our friendship apart. Each day, her signs of distress dragged me deeper into worry. I felt like I was chasing shadows, desperate for answers. I couldn't ignore my instincts anymore. I needed to face the truth, no matter how painful it was. I realized I'd to protect myself. I'd to uncover what was really going on, even if it meant confronting the truth I feared the most. "Sarah, what's going on with you and Jake?" I asked. My voice shaking, she looked down, her fingers fidgeting with her phone. "It's nothing. You're overreacting." "Nothing? You've changed. You barely talk to me anymore," she sighed, frustration flashing in her eyes. "Maybe I'm just busy. You wouldn't understand. Try me. I want to help you," I pleaded. As I thought back to my showdown with Sarah, a chill ran down my spine. The signs of betrayal had been there, lurking behind her giggles and our fun times together. I once believed our friendship was solid, but now it felt like it was made of sand. The first real clue hit me when she started to pull away. Her phone buzzed constantly, and she grabbed it like it was a secret treasure. I tried to shake it off, telling myself I was just being silly. But deep inside, my stomach twisted with unease. It felt like the trust we'd built was crumbling, and I was losing my strength to fight it. One afternoon I noticed her smile was fake. It was as if she was acting in a play, and I'd missed the memo on the new script. "Everything's fine," she said, but I couldn't ignore the truth that gnawed at me. I felt lost and betrayed. The joy we once had was gone, replaced by a thick air of tension. I couldn't help but wonder, who was she texting? What secrets was she hiding? Every moment together became a wild hunt for answers. A frantic search for the truth I dreaded, but knew I'd have to face. I could feel something was off, and each hint of betrayal sliced deeper, pushing me closer to a confrontation I feared but I knew was coming. "Sarah, what's really going on?" I finally blurted out one day. Her eyes widened, and for a split second, I saw panic flash across her face. "Nothing. You're overreacting," she shot back, but the tremble in her voice told me otherwise. I could feel the secrets hiding behind closed doors. They were like shadows waiting to pounce. I'd to find out the truth about Sarah and Jake. Every day, I watched Sarah smile, but it felt fake, like she was wearing a mask. I wondered if anyone else saw it, or if I was the only one in the dark. Confronting Sarah was scary. It felt like stepping on a landmine. What if I found something I didn't want to know? Every time she looked at her phone, my heart raced. What if it was another secret? I couldn't let this betrayal ruin me. I had to pull back the curtain and see what was really happening. One night, I followed Sarah to the cafe. My heart thumped in my chest. When I saw her with Jake, it felt like a punch to the gut. They were laughing, whispering secrets that should have been ours. I snapped a picture. It hurt to see how far we'd fallen. In that moment, I realized these secrets weren't just about Sarah. They were about me too. I'd my own hidden truths, trusting someone who didn't deserve it. I needed to protect myself. It was time to face the truth about our friendship and take back my power. "Sarah!" I shouted, storming over to them. "What's going on here?" Her smile faded. "It's not what it looks like." "Then what's it?" I demanded, my voice sharp. "You're supposed to be my friend." Jake smirked. "Maybe she's just having fun without you." I felt my heart break as I took a step back. "Fun? Is that what you call it?" Sarah opened her mouth to explain, but I didn't want to hear it. "You both can keep your secrets. I'm done." Why had I waited so long to find out the truth? Each day felt heavier, like a big rock sitting on my chest. I'd trust issues, and Sarah's sneaky ways made them worse. I watched her every move, convinced she was hiding something. My detective side kicked in. Should I ask her directly or look for proof first? I felt stuck. Part of me wanted to stay clueless, to pretend everything was fine. But another part of me was yelling for answers. I couldn't ignore the signs any longer. I'd to find out what Sarah was up to. When I caught her sneaking out at strange hours, my heart raced. Fear and determination mixed inside me. One night, I made a choice. I'd follow her. I felt like a real detective, hiding behind trees, heart pounding with every step. It was crazy, but I'd to know. I couldn't stay blind to possible betrayal. In the shadows, I felt scared and strong at the same time. And then, I saw her with Jake. My heart sank. I had trusted Sarah, and she broke that trust. I couldn't let this betrayal go on. I'd to confront her. I needed to know the truth, even if it hurt. It was time to face the lies and take back my heart. With every second that passed, I felt braver. I was done being left in the dark. "I saw you with Jake," I shouted when I finally approached her. The shock on her face was priceless, but I could see the guilt lurking beneath. "It's not what you think," she stammered, but I could hear the panic in her voice. "Then what's it?" I pressed, my fists clenched. I was ready for the truth, no matter how ugly it was. "Just let me explain," she begged, but I wasn't sure I wanted to hear it. "Explain? You've been lying to me. I deserve better than this. How could Sarah hide so much from me?" It felt like I was stuck in a thick fog, unable to see the truth. Every day I found little hints that hinted at something much bigger, something scary. It wasn't just about Jake. It was the sneaky messages she sent me, full of fake smiles and lies. I replayed our talks in my head like a broken record, trying to crack the code of our friendship. I had to find out more. I started snooping through her social media. Her posts looked perfect. Happy faces, fun times. But I knew the truth was buried beneath the surface. Then I saw it. A message left unread. The one she was dodging like a bullet. My heart raced. What could it say? One night, everything changed. I caught her texting under the table. Curiosity pushed me closer, and I caught a glimpse of her screen. My stomach dropped. The words were flirty, filled with secret jokes. I felt a wave of panic wash over me. How could she lie like this? The betrayal hit me hard. I'd to confront her. These hidden messages weren't just words. They were the key to understanding her true self. My heart pounded as I steeled myself to face the girl I thought I knew, desperate to uncover the truth behind her sweet smile. "Sarah, we need to talk," I said, my voice shaking. She looked up, her eyes wide. "About what?" "About your secrets. The texts. The lies," I shot back, feeling my anger boil. She hesitated, and for a moment, I thought I saw guilt flash across her face. "I can explain," she stammered. "Explain? You've been lying to me," I yelled, the betrayal stinging like a slap. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she replied, but her words felt empty. "I trusted you," I shouted, my heart racing. "You made me think we were friends." In that moment, everything shifted. The girl I thought I knew was slipping away, revealing the darkness beneath. I knew I'd to dig deeper to discover the truth, even if it meant risking everything. As I sat alone in my room, I felt like a balloon losing air, suffocating under the weight of Sarah's lies. Each moment felt heavier, and I couldn't shake off the feeling of betrayal. I replayed our last conversation in my head, her words twisting like vines around my mind. How could she do this to me? Every time her name popped into my thoughts, anger surged like a tidal wave. I wanted to scream at her, to force her to explain herself. But deep down, I also wished we could fix things. Could we really rebuild trust after she'd shattered everything? It felt impossible, like trying to build a castle on quicksand. Days dragged on, but the betrayal wouldn't let me go. I kept asking myself if our friendship had ever been real, or just a big lie. My heart felt like it was breaking, and I knew that repairing our bond would take a lot of time, if it was even possible. I wanted to believe we could salvage what we had, but doubt loomed over me like a dark storm cloud. I realized I needed to protect myself. I'd to weigh the pain of losing Sarah against the hurt her lies had caused. This isn't worth it, I muttered to myself. I decided then and there it was time to let go. The burden of her deception was too much to bear. I chose my peace over the chaos she'd created in my life. With a deep breath, I picked up my phone and texted her. "We need to talk." My heart raced. This was it. No more games, no more pretending. It was time to face the truth, no matter how painful. I felt a storm inside me. Anger, sadness, and confusion all swirling together. Sarah had betrayed me, and it hurt more than I could say. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. Each day, her lies felt heavier, like a backpack full of rocks. I knew I'd to face the truth, even if it stung. "Why would you do this to me?" I whispered to myself, remembering the good times we had. It felt like someone had smashed the glass of our friendship, and I was left picking up the pieces. I replayed our moments together, searching for clues, trying to figure out where it all fell apart. Every time I thought of her sneaking around, my heart ached. I wanted to scream and cry. I felt the need to take back my strength. "I need to make sense of this," I said out loud, determination growing inside me. I wanted to find closure and let go of all this anger. So I grabbed a notebook and started writing. I let my feelings pour out like water from a broken dam. Writing helped me see that her betrayal was about her choices, not about who I was. I began to realize I deserved more than this toxic friendship. I'd to confront my feelings head-on and not let her actions control me. Jealousy snuck into my heart like a thief in the night, stealing away the joy I once felt with Sarah. I noticed things that made my stomach twist. She was always smiling at her phone, texting someone I didn't know. My imagination ran wild, picturing her laughing with someone else, sharing our special moments. Every time her phone lit up, I felt a surge of anger. It was like I was an outsider in my own life, left out of a secret that was supposed to be ours. Jealousy twisted my thoughts, turning my love into doubt. I started questioning everything, every giggle, every late-night text. Our friendship felt like a fragile balloon, ready to pop. "I need to know what's going on, Sarah," I said one day, my voice shaky but determined. She looked at me, surprise flashing across her face. "What do you mean?" "I see you texting all the time." "Who's it?" I pressed, feeling the heat rise in my chest. "It's just a friend," she replied quickly, avoiding my gaze. But her words didn't ease my worry. Jealousy became my shadow, whispering that I was losing her. I was desperate for answers, even if it meant tearing everything apart. I couldn't let this poison ruin what we had. One evening, I decided to confront her. "We need to talk," I declared, my heart pounding. "About what?" she asked, crossing her arms defensively. "About us." "I feel like you're hiding something," I shot back, my frustration boiling over. "Why can't you just trust me?" she snapped, her eyes narrowing. "Because trust feels broken," I shouted, the words tumbling out. Where was Sarah going at this hour? The streetlights flickered above me as I hid in the shadows, my heart racing. I'd to find out. Following her felt like my only choice. I remembered the whispers, the secret texts, and how she always kept her phone close. My best friend was acting like a stranger, and I needed answers. I followed her, a mix of anger and fear bubbling inside me. Why was she sneaking out? What was she hiding? I could confront her right now, but what if I was wrong? I needed proof, something that would show me the truth. I watched as she turned the corner and slipped into a cafe called Midnight Brew. My heart sank. I peeked through the window, and there they were, Sarah and Jake, together. My stomach twisted. How could she betray me like this? I quickly snapped a picture, my hands trembling. I was no longer just following her. I was uncovering a web of lies. With every second, my heart hardened. I had to find out everything. Sarah's secrets were out there, and I was determined to reveal them. Watching Sarah and Jake through the cafe window felt like a punch to the gut. My heart raced as I saw them laughing, looking so cozy together. It was like I was invisible, a ghost watching my best friend betray me. I thought Sarah and I were tight, but everything shattered in that moment. I felt the betrayal pressing down, heavy and cold. Memories of our good times flashed in my mind. Secrets we whispered. Dreams we shared. Now it seemed like I was just a shadow in her life. Anger bubbled inside me. How could she do this? I wanted to march in there and demand answers, but I needed to hold it together. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my cool. I wouldn't let this break me. I watched them chat and smile, and my fists clenched. I was her best friend. I couldn't just sit back and let this happen. No, I'd to stay strong. This moment wouldn't define me. It would drive me to find out the truth. Every second in that cafe was a reminder of what I was losing. But it also lit a fire in me. I was gaining clarity. I knew I'd to confront Sarah. I wouldn't let betrayal win this time. This was my turning point, and I was ready to fight back. "Sarah," I called, my voice steady as I pushed through the door. Their heads snapped around, surprise etched on their faces. "We need to talk." I thought I was ready to face Sarah, but nothing could prepare me for the pain that hit me like a brick. Standing there, my heart felt like it shattered into a million pieces. I'd trusted her completely, and now betrayal loomed over us like a storm cloud. It felt suffocating. I'd shared my deepest secrets with her, only to find out she was lying. "The whole time! How could you do this?" I yelled, my voice shaking with anger. I watched her face go from surprise to guilt, and it made my heart ache even more. I wanted to believe we could fix this, but doubt gnawed at me. How could we ever trust each other again when everything felt broken? The truth hit me hard. Every moment with Sarah turned into a painful reminder of what we used to share. I felt lost, like I was sinking in a sea of heartbreak. Our happy memories now felt ruined, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd been a fool for loving her. Days went by, and I realized I'd to protect myself. I'd to walk away for good. It wasn't easy, but it was what I needed to heal. Rebuilding trust seemed impossible now. I learned that sometimes the hardest choices are the ones that set you free. With a heavy heart, I turned my back on the love that once felt so strong. Sarah called out, but I couldn't look back. I had to choose me. I was determined to find out the truth about Sarah. I couldn't just sit and let her secrets grow like a bad weed. I needed proof, something that showed what was really happening. My heart raced as I thought of all the things she could be hiding from me. I started watching her closely. I noticed how she smiled at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. Every time it buzzed, my stomach twisted. Who was this Jake, and what did he mean to her? One night, I decided to follow Sarah. I moved quietly, like a detective on a mission. My heart pounded as I saw her meet Jake at the cafe. They hugged. I felt a chill run down my spine, and I quickly snapped a photo. I'd to capture this moment that felt like it could destroy everything I knew. As I looked at the photo, the weight of betrayal hit me hard. I felt sick, but I couldn't stop now. I needed more evidence, more pieces to this puzzle. It wasn't just about Sarah anymore. It was about protecting myself from heartbreak. With the photo of Sarah and Jake burning a hole in my pocket, I felt a jolt of energy. It was time to confront her. My heart pounded as I rehearsed what I needed to say. Trust issues had snuck into our friendship, and I couldn't ignore them anymore. I'd to be brave. Fear couldn't stop me now. I stood in front of the mirror, practicing my words. "Why didn't you tell me about Jake?" I said it over and over, picturing her shocked face. Each time, my anger bubbled up. I wanted her to feel the weight of her lies, just like they'd crushed me. Sitting on my bed, I took deep breaths to calm down. I imagined the moment I'd see her. I'd to be clear and strong. This wasn't just about answers. It was about my self-respect. When I finally faced Sarah, I'd stand tall. It was time to take back my power and walk away for good, even if it broke my heart. With the photo still in my pocket, I headed out. I could feel the anger and strength building inside me as I approached her. No more hiding. No more lies. Today, I'd get the truth. The moment of truth. How did it come to this? I stood there, a photo of Sarah and Jake shaking in my hands. My heart raced like a drum, and I knew I'd to confront her. This moment would change everything. Anger and betrayal crashed over me like a wild wave. How could she look me in the eye, after all we'd been through? When Sarah walked in, confusion filled her face. I was ready to unleash my hurt, but sadness tugged at me too. This was my best friend, the one I trusted the most. Sarah. Who's this? I shoved the photo at her. Her face went from shock to panic. Ellie, I can explain, she pleaded, her voice shaky. But I didn't want to hear her excuses. I don't want to hear it, I yelled, my voice bouncing off the walls. It felt like a heavy weight was crushing me. The betrayal was like a knife twisting in my stomach. As Sarah stood there, tears streaming down her face, I felt the heavy burden of our broken friendship. This wasn't just a simple argument. It was a full-on emotional battle. I clutched the photo in my hand, a painful reminder of her betrayal, and my heart raced with anger. Why did you do it, Sarah? I demanded, my voice steady even though I felt like exploding. You lied to me. You went behind my back. The balance of our friendship had flipped, and now I was the one in control. I wanted to yell, to make her understand how much she'd hurt me. I didn't want to hurt you, she sobbed, her voice shaky. I saw her tears, but they couldn't change what she'd done. I'd to be strong right now, to stand tall against the pain. Your lies already hurt me, I shot back, the betrayal burning like fire inside me. I was fighting for my truth, my right to feel safe in our friendship. I wouldn't let her tears pull me back down. As we faced off, I realized this was a fight for my heart. I felt the weight of our past trying to drag me down, but I'd to push through. I was tired of being the one left hurt. I needed to take back my power and protect myself from more heartbreak. The truth was out in the open, and I was ready to walk away for good. The confrontation changed everything between Sarah and me. We used to be close, but now something felt off. I'd gone from being her trusting friend to an investigator, and Sarah was scrambling to keep her secrets hidden. This wasn't just about a little lie. It was about trust being ripped apart. I held the photo in my shaking hands. The proof of her betrayal. A wave of strength washed over me. I was in control now, flipping the power between us. I wasn't in the dark anymore. I was shining a light on her lies. It hit me then. Our friendship had been more fragile than I thought. Please, don't do this, Sarah cried, her voice shaky and desperate. I could see it in her eyes. She knew she was losing. I wasn't her friend anymore. I was her enemy. This shift felt wild and heavy at the same time. I'd to protect myself, even if it meant losing her. Betrayal hung between us like a thick fog, choking any good memories we had. I couldn't pretend anymore. I'd to confront the truth, no matter how much it hurt. This was my turning point. I made the decision to walk away, letting go of the trust that had shattered. I learned that sometimes the hardest choices bring the best freedom. I can't believe you did this, I said, my voice steady. You're not the person I thought you were. I'm sorry. I messed up, Sarah pleaded, her face twisted in regret. I thought I was ready for the fallout after confronting Sarah, but losing her hit me like a ton of bricks. 1 minute, we were best friends, and the next, it felt like a part of me was missing. The betrayal stung. How could I've trusted her? I couldn't believe how quickly everything changed. Why did you do it, Sarah? I shouted, anger bubbling up. You knew how much I cared, she shrugged, a cold smile on her face. You were too trusting. It's your fault. Her words twisted like a knife in my heart. I needed to accept that this was over. Letting go didn't mean I stopped caring. It meant I'd to face the hurt. I spent nights crying, trapped in memories, asking myself how it all fell apart. I'd to deal with these feelings if I wanted to move on. Healing wasn't easy. I stumbled through every day, feeling lost. I surrounded myself with friends who listened and understood. They were my lifeline. Writing became my escape. I scribbled down my pain, my anger, and my confusion. Each page was a step toward reclaiming my strength. Just breathe, my friend Mia said one night as we sat in my room. You'll get through this. You're stronger than you think. Every day felt like a battle, but slowly, I started to see the light. Dealing with loss was tough, but I learned it was part of growing up. I could grieve what I lost, but also cherish the lessons. Walking away from Sarah was the right choice. It freed me to find a healthier, happier life. Goodbye, Sarah, I whispered to myself one evening, feeling a weight lift as I closed the door on our past. I was ready to face the future, no matter how scary it seemed. Betrayal stings like a sharp knife. I felt it deeply when I found out Sarah had been lying to me. Our friendship used to be filled with laughter and fun, but now it felt like a broken vase, shattered and ugly. I thought I knew her, but the truth showed me a stranger who I couldn't trust. "Why did you do it, Sarah?" I asked, my voice shaky. Her eyes looked away, full of guilt. "I thought it would be better this way." Better? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Each memory of our good times turned into a painful reminder of her lies. I'd poured my heart into our friendship, and now it felt like I was drowning in sadness. I wanted answers, but all I got was confusion. Days turned into weeks, and I avoided all the places we used to hang out. Every corner reminded me of her betrayal. I felt lost, like a ship without a sail, drifting aimlessly. The laughter we shared echoed in my head, but now it sounded empty. I need to change, I told myself. I couldn't let her lies control my life. I decided to focus on me. I began to find new friends who valued honesty. I learned that even the worst pain could help me grow stronger. "I won't let this break me," I said aloud, feeling the fire inside me ignite. I knew I might never fully heal, but I could choose to move on. Trust is precious, I reminded myself. I deserved friends who valued that trust. With each step forward, I felt a little lighter, ready to face whatever came next. How do you find closure when your heart feels shattered? After Sarah's betrayal, I was lost, like a ship without a sail. Confusion and hurt crashed over me like waves. I knew I'd to do something to heal. First, I grabbed a notebook and started to write. My hand flew across the pages as I unleashed all the anger, sadness, and betrayal inside me. "Why did you do this?" I scribbled. It felt good to let it all out. Then, I called my friends. "You won't believe what happened," I said, my voice trembling. They listened and reminded me that finding closure wasn't about forgiving Sarah. "It's about you," one friend said. "You need to find peace." Their words sank in. I turned to self-care. I took long walks, breathing in the fresh air. Nature helped calm my racing thoughts. I tried old hobbies like painting and reading. Each activity felt like a tiny victory, a step toward healing. I realized I didn't need Sarah's approval to feel okay, but I'd to face my feelings directly. This really happened, I told myself. Accepting the truth was hard, but it was necessary. Closure didn't mean forgetting what happened, it meant acknowledging it and moving on. "Enough is enough," I shouted one day, surprising even myself. I was reclaiming my life, piece by piece. Slowly, the broken pieces of my heart started to fit together again. I felt stronger, ready to take on the world. With each passing day, I found more joy and less pain. "I'm going to be okay," I whispered to myself, a smile creeping across my face. And just like that, I was on the road to recovery, determined to find my happiness again. Moving forward felt like diving into a dark tunnel, but I'd to do it alone. I lost a friend, and with that, I lost part of myself. This is my time to figure things out, I told myself. I needed to find strength I didn't know I had. Every day was tough, but I was ready for this solo adventure. I spent hours thinking about my feelings, feeling the sting of betrayal deep inside. How could they do this? I muttered, clenching my fists. I knew I'd to rebuild trust, not just with others, but with myself. "I won't let this break me," I promised. I'd to learn to bounce back from the pain, to stand tall again. I grabbed books that inspired me, searching for new ideas. I started writing in a journal, spilling my heart onto the pages. These feelings are real, I wrote, tears smudging the ink. This was me growing, even if it hurt. I reminded myself, the past doesn't control my future. Finding strength meant accepting that I could be okay alone. I learned to enjoy being by myself. I can do this, I whispered, relishing the silence. Each small step felt like a win. I turned my heartbreak into fuel, pushing forward with new courage. Are you really okay? A voice echoed in my mind. I will be, I replied out loud. The journey was hard, but it was mine, and I was ready for whatever came next. I never thought deception could hit me so hard, but it did. My friendship with Sarah crumbled, leaving me with a heavy weight of trust and betrayal. 1 minute, we were best friends, and the next, her lies shattered everything I believed in. It was like a punch to the gut. Trust is so delicate, and once it's broken, it's like trying to piece together a shattered mirror. When I found out Sarah had been lying, I felt my heart drop. How could you do this? I yelled, my voice shaking. I thought we were inseparable. Her secrets twisted my feelings, and I couldn't understand why she'd hurt me. I realized I had to be careful about who I let into my life. Trust isn't just handed out. It's something you earn, and once it's lost, it's hard to get back. Do you even care about our friendship? I demanded. Her silence spoke volumes. I knew I couldn't rush into trusting again. My heart was bruised, and I had to think carefully about who truly deserved a second chance. Moving on was tough, but I made a promise to myself. I'd protect my heart. I learned to listen to my gut and face deception head-on. I won't let this break me, I told myself. Each experience taught me something important, and I refused to let betrayal define me. Instead, I'd let it fuel my growth. As I looked for new friendships, I vowed to surround myself with people who truly cared. I'd learned my lesson the hard way, but I was ready to rise above the hurt and build stronger connections. The pain of betrayal hit me hard, like a punch to the gut, but deep inside I felt a spark of hope. I realized that sometimes when things end, they can start fresh. Losing Sarah stung like a bee, but it made me see that I had to find happiness on my own. No more relying on someone else. I took action. I filled my days with things I loved, reading, sketching, and hanging out with friends who really cared. Each activity reminded me that I mattered. I learned that trusting myself was just as important as trusting others. I started listening to my gut, being careful, and guarding my heart. Soon, I made new friends. They were real and honest. These relationships felt different. They were based on trust and respect. I felt lighter, like a balloon ready to fly. I learned it was okay to be vulnerable again, even if it scared me. It was hard work, but I was determined to trust again, both in others and myself. The journey wasn't smooth. There were days I felt lost, haunted by memories of the past. But every setback taught me something important. I learned that from the ashes of betrayal, new beginnings could rise. My story wasn't over. It was just getting started. I was ready to face whatever came next, stronger and tougher than ever.